Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into a book that, well, it's genuinely reshaped how millions think about money. We're talking about Robert Kiyosaki and Sharon Lecter's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. At its core, the book draws this really fascinating contrast, doesn't it? Between two dads.
Yeah, two very different father figures.
You've got Kiyosaki's actual father, the poor dad, highly educated, government employee, but always struggling financially.
Right.
And then there's his friend's father, the rich dad, maybe less formal education, but incredibly street smart, an entrepreneur.
And wealthy.
Exactly. It really forces you to question basically everything you thought you knew about earning, saving, the works.
It absolutely does. And our mission today for this deep dive is really to pull out the most powerful principles from the book. You know, those core ideas, the nuggets of knowledge that really challenge conventional financial thinking.
Right.
We want to help you understand what building wealth actually looks like beyond just, getting a good job and a steady paycheck.
And we'll definitely touch on some maybe surprising ideas, especially around what an asset really is versus a liability. That one's key.
Oh, absolutely.
And also how the wealthy think about earning money in the first place. It's different.
Very different. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it. So kicking us off is probably the most foundational idea in the whole book. The rich don't work for money. Money works for them.
That's the bedrock.
Yeah. My own poor dad, like Kiyosaki's always stressed. Work hard, get that secure salary, save diligently.
The traditional path.
Exactly. But Rich Dad, completely different philosophy. What's the core difference there? How does money work for them?
Well, the essential distinction is pretty profound, actually. Rich Dad's viewpoint. It's all about building systems. Systems where your money starts generating more money all by itself or with less direct effort from you.
Okay, so not just trading time for cash.
Precisely. It's about strategically acquiring things like investments, income-producing assets, developing streams of passive income. The main goal is to break free from that trap, the trap of only exchanging your time, your life energy, for a salary.
Right.
And instead, build these mechanisms, these engines that generate wealth more automatically.
Okay, so if we're making money work for us, how do we actually, see that? How do we do that? Which I think brings us to maybe the biggest game changer in the book for many people.
The asset versus liability distinction.
Exactly. It seems simple, but wow.
It is simple, but it's absolutely crucial. And once you really grasp it, it can fundamentally shift your whole financial direction.
So break it down for us. Asset versus liability in Rich Dad terms.
Okay, so an asset, according to Rich Dad, is anything that puts money into your pocket, period.
Puts money in. Okay, like what?
And rental properties bringing in monthly rent, dividend-paying stocks, maybe a profitable side business you own but don't have to run day to day, things that generate cash flow to you.
Got it.
The liability, then, is the opposite. It's anything that takes money out of your pocket.
Takes money out. Examples.
Your car loan payments, credit card debt, student loans. And here's the kicker for many.
Uh-oh.
Your own large house, if it has a big mortgage, high property taxes, lots of upkeep, and it's not generating any income for you.
Ouch. A lot of people think of their house as their biggest asset.
And that's the misunderstanding Kiyosaki highlights. From a cash flow perspective, if it's only costing you money each month, it's functioning as a liability. The key takeaway here is that the wealthy focus relentlessly on acquiring assets, things that generate income.
Wow.
While the poor and middle class often end up accumulating liabilities, things that cost them money, sometimes thinking they're assets.
And that keeps them stuck.
Exactly. That keeps them stuck in what Kiyosaki famously termed the rat race.
Describe that again.
It's that, relentless cycle. Go to work, earn money, pay bills, run out of money, go back to work.
Just to keep your head above water.
Right. Never truly getting ahead financially because the liabilities are eating up the income before it can be used to acquire assets.
Wow. Okay, that distinction alone is huge. It really makes you rethink every purchase, doesn't it?
It should.
Which kind of leads us nicely into another big idea from the book, mind your own business. This isn't about literally quitting your job necessarily, is it? It's more about mindset.
Precisely. It's about financial thinking that needs to extend way beyond just your 9-to-5 job. Rich Dad basically says, look, even if you have a regular job, you need to treat your personal finances like a separate business, your business.
Okay, what does that look like practically?
It means you're actively, intentionally investing. First, in yourself, your financial education. We'll get to that. But also investing in actual opportunities, things that are specifically designed to grow your wealth over time.
So not just relying on that single paycheck from your employer.
Absolutely not. The paycheck covers bills, maybe some saving.
Yeah.
But your business, that's where you build wealth. The goal isn't just about getting a raise at your job. It's about building your own personal financial empire, even if it starts small, on the side.
A financial empire.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that. But if minding your own business means building this empire, how do you learn the skills? How do you actually do that? Because as you hinted, Rich Dad, it's pretty clear that traditional schools, they don't really teach this stuff.
You've hit on a really critical point there. He heavily stressed financial literacy, but not just basic budgeting, like knowing where your money goes.
More than that.
Oh yeah, much more. It's understanding things like how tax laws work and how they can actually be used to your advantage if you structure things correctly. It's understanding how debt can sometimes be a tool, good debt used to acquire assets, rather than just a burden, which is bad debt. It's about understanding investing, markets, accounting. Basically, the language of money. And yeah, the poor dad valued academic education, degrees, grades.
Which are important, of course.
Sure, but rich dad emphasized financial education as the pathway to freedom. And these are skills, let's be honest, that are largely missing from standard school curricula.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't in my high school classes.
Mine neither. So this makes self-education not just like a nice to have, but absolutely essential. If you're serious about building wealth, you have to learn this stuff yourself.
Right. Okay, so you start building your business. But for a lot of us, getting into investing, maybe starting a side business, that sounds, well, risky.
It can feel that way for sure.
And Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it doesn't shy away from risk. Actually, it encourages taking calculated risks.
Yes, calculated is the key word there.
So how does the book differentiate between a smart, calculated risk and just being, reckless?
That's a really important distinction. Rich Dad wasn't about gambling. He championed taking informed, calculated risk. Things like maybe starting a small business after doing your research, or investing strategically in real estate when you understand the market and the numbers.
As opposed
to just playing it perpetually safe. Sticking only to a job and maybe a basic savings account, hoping that's enough. Kiyosaki argues that the main things stopping people from escaping that paycheck-to-paycheck rat race are often two things. Fear.
Fear of losing money.
Yeah, fear of failure, fear of the unknown. And the second thing is a critical lack of financial knowledge.
Back to the education piece.
Exactly. When you understand how money works, when you've done your homework on an investment or a business idea, the risk becomes much more manageable. It's less about blind luck and more about educated decision-making.
So knowledge reduces the perceived risk.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Ignorance is often riskier than the investment itself.
That makes sense. Which brings us to another one of those really unconventional ideas. Shifts how you think about your career, maybe. Work to learn, not to earn.
Yeah, that one definitely goes against the grain for a lot of people.
Right. Most people look for the highest paying job they can get.
Naturally. But this philosophy suggests a different strategy, especially earlier in your career, perhaps. Instead of just chasing the biggest immediate paycheck, the book advises strategically picking jobs, or even, say, volunteer experiences that equip you with valuable, transferable skills.
Skills? Like what kind of skills?
Think about critical business skills. Sales, understanding how to persuade and sell, is huge. Leadership, negotiation, marketing, maybe understanding accounting or investment analysis, or the dynamics of a specific industry like real estate.
So you're building up your personal toolkit.
Exactly. You're building your skill asset column, as Kiyosaki might put it. The idea is that these skills, they compound over time. They'll unlock far greater long-term earning potential and wealth-building opportunities than just having a slightly higher salary in a job where you're not really learning anything new or valuable.
Work to learn first, and the earning will follow, potentially on a much larger scale.
That's the core idea. Build your capabilities, and that will build your future wealth.
Okay, as we start to wrap up this deep dive, it feels pretty clear that Rich Dad, Poor Dad is, well, it's much more than just a standard finance book.
Oh, absolutely.
It really digs deep and forces you to confront, maybe even challenge a lot of your ingrained beliefs about money, doesn't it? The conventional wisdom.
It fundamentally reshapes your perspective, or at least it tries to. The overarching message seems pretty clear. Achieving real financial autonomy, that financial freedom everyone talks about. It's actually less about the sheer amount you earn.
Which is counterintuitive.
Right. And significantly more about how intelligently you manage and crucially grow whatever you have, even if you start small.
So it's about financial intelligence.
Yes. cultivating that financial IQ and doing it continuously throughout your life.
So maybe a good point for you listening to reflect a bit on your own financial habits. Ask yourself, what am I acquiring? Are these things genuinely assets putting money into my pocket over time?
Or are they liabilities, consistently taking money out?
Think about those ideas we talked about, investing in income-generating assets, focusing on financial independence, not just job security.
And maybe, just to leave you with a final thought to chew on,
Mhm.
a provocative one perhaps, what's one small calculated step you could take, maybe even today or this week, towards boosting your own financial education? Something inspired by these rich dad principles. What's that first step on your journey to making money start working for you? And maybe, just maybe, finding your own path out of the conventional grind.